Hello, everybody. My name is Stuart. I'm your Chief Motivation Officer. I am here to bring you coaching session 178. It's been a wild ride and a fun ride. I actually started this power hour in March of 2015. So March 11th was the very, very first one I did. And back then it was called the Ask Stuart Hour. And it's since changed to the Group Sales Power Hour. To be honest with you, I almost wanted to have made it a 30 minutes, not because I want to get out early, but because I'm a big believer. Man, if you got a half hour, you can get almost as much accomplished, if you condense that time I'm all about efficiency. However, what turns out is when I think, man, we don't have enough to talk about, we always have more than enough. We always have to cut it and say, hey, to be continued, and to continue the dialogue in the future. Thank you all for being here, for being in the house. This is, to me, every time we're together is very, very special, but it's particularly very special today because after almost 7 years of Group Sales Boot Camp, which launched in February of 2015, it's coming to an end. And before I continue on, I have to acknowledge how many people are saying happy birthday to me. Today's the 16th of December. Yesterday, the 15th, was my 58th birthday. Thank you, Mitch. Hello, Jean's in the house. Marina is on here from France. Wow, that's super cool. Summer, thank you for the happy belated birthday. I appreciate that. Doreen's in the house from Massachusetts. So, wow, what a phenomenal turnout today. I am so happy. Karen's here, and we've got a lot to cover. Absolutely, we'll bring you some of the notes, some of the letters that were shared by you. Some boot campers shared with me the big thing that was most pivotal in their group sales business. What helped them elevate? What helped them turn the corner? And I'm going to read them for you. The reason why I'm going to read them for you is because I hope that if you haven't experienced the big bump, the big pivot, the big aha moment, that maybe this will inspire you not to step outside your comfort zone and try something new, but to step inside a new comfort zone and try something new. That's what it's all about, isn't it? And some of you have been around the block. You've been in this glorious business and you've seen the highs and lows, the lows and highs, the really big highs and the really big lows for many, many years. Some of you are newer, and I'm grateful that you're all here. So here's how this works. If this is your first time here, please be sure to let your fingers do the talking. If you have a comment, a question, something to share, make sure you type it into the chat room. And if you'd be so kind to send it to everybody so we can all see your words of wisdom or questions, and perhaps one of your colleagues can answer. Mitch, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm seeing such beautiful messages here, and I'm very grateful. So here's what's coming up today. I'm going to share some of the strategies you've shared with me that have been most pivotal in your business. I'm going to also share just a really brief history of why I did this and why I'm leaving, but I'm not really leaving. I'm doing a little bit of a pivot, but I'm never leaving you. I promise. It's just that boot camp is coming to a close. So I'm going to go through that so you know exactly what's going on. I made a list of a few things that I want to share about what I've learned. And now I've learned a lot through this process, but there were 4 key things. And then I'm also going to share, this is towards the end, two really important, very important things to me. The most important lessons to leave you with. And they may be a bit of emotionally charged, but if you know me by now, I like to be direct, and direct in a constructive criticism way, direct in a loving way, only to motivate you, only to inspire you to greatness. Because I believe each and every one of us, every one of you listening to my voice right now, are capable of greatness at higher levels than what you've already achieved today. You've got it in your heart. You've got it in your head. You're in a business that you love, because to be honest with you, if you didn't love what you're doing, you wouldn't be here today. Now, would you? Right? Crazy, crazy times. So, also, I have a surprise guest coming in. Some of you will probably be able to guess who that person is, but I've asked somebody who's very near and dear to my heart, who's also been a mentor to me for many, many years, and for whom I could have never accomplished what I've accomplished in the arena of groups and public speaking, if not for him. He's going to be joining us. Maybe you're right, Mitch. Maybe you're right. See, look at that. I can't even keep a secret. Okay, so here's the deal. You got something to share? Go ahead and type, and please communicate with all of us. Next thing is that our mission here has always been and will always be to help you to build a bigger, better group sales business. So real quick, why did I start Group Bootcamp back in February 2015? Well, having been in the business for right now, it had been 22 years on the corporate side and working for 10 different companies, which I will list for you. I'm going to tell you which 10 companies I work for. I knew, having worked on the supplier side, on the brand side, and on the consortia side, and on the direct side, 3 sides of the fence, that I firmly believe back then, today, and going forward, that the most lucrative part of this industry is group sales. Hands down. It's also your biggest opportunity to lose money as it is to earn money. The key is doing it right. So basically, I got to see, having worked with so many thousands and thousands of travel advisors over the years, what they were doing right and what they were doing wrong. And then I put my insight into it, my philosophy, my strategies into it to create a boot camp that I believe would help transform your business. But the bottom line is, it doesn't work if you don't do it. So some of you who are on today may have been through boot camp or not. Some of you may have seen some of my training programs over the years. You know, I could talk till I'm blue in the face. If you don't try this stuff, it's never going to work. You just wake up every morning doing the same old thing, or experiencing the same old results, having done the same old thing. So let today be yet another power hour of inspiration. Let's get down to it. So I just need to lay this out for you, because I look back and I'm like, holy cow, how time has passed. I started my travel career in 1987, and I worked for, and maybe you knew me then. I wonder, did we meet when I worked for any of these companies? Some were phenomenal experiences, some not. Some I left on my own because there was time for a new adventure. I get bored easy. And some companies invited me to leave. They either got bored with me or fed up with me. I mean, I'll call it like it is, you know. At 58, right? I need to reflect back and to say, hey, man, it's okay. Because I am where I am today because of that crazy trail. So the first was Austin Travel. Had been a really super huge agency on Long Island. I'm still very good friends with somebody I graduated high school with, who it was his company. And those days will always forever be with me, because that's where I learned travel. Well, it took my very first cruise on the itty bitty, tiny Pacific Princess, the tiny one, which back then, you know, well, I guess, I don't know, it was a mid-sized ship or a large ship. And to these days, that size ship hangs off the side of these mega ships. It's like a tender. Then I went to Travel Savers, got on the consortia side, and then I had to get out and field sales. So I wanted to get out there and knock on your doors and come visit you. Back in the day when you had brick and mortars, some of you may still be, I don't know, are you? But then I was driving all over the state of New Jersey, knocking on your doors with Costa Cruises and then Princess Cruises. And by the way, with Costa, we brought out Eurolux. Does anybody here remember Eurolux? Affectionately, or should I say disaffectionately, I called it Eurosucks. because it was not good. It was not good. Moving on. Princess Cruises. And then I got back behind the desk in marketing and sales, but at the consortium. Some of you newbies have no idea that there were companies back then. There were dozens of consortia, and I was with the consortium, which later became the Cruise Consortium, which later became purchased by Vacation.com during that huge roll-up, right? And I re-interviewed for my job as VP, and I got the job with Vacation.com, became their very, very first vice president of marketing, loved it, then left there to go to Insight Vacations. That was a tough year because right after I joined, it was 9/11. And I didn't get fired because of 9/11. I got fired for other reasons, but that was quite an experience. That was on the tourist side. And then Celebrity Cruises, where to this day, I have enormous affection for and respect for Dondra, who just got voted like, what'd she vote? Like Power Woman of the Year of the century of the globe. She's amazing. Loved working with her, learned so much. And then Nest, I actually had this idea to start. Now, check this out. I don't know if any of you know this, but Nest stands for Network of Entrepreneurs Selling Travel. And basically, I said, hey, look at all these travel professionals going home-based, and why don't we give them a home where they'd feel safe and happy and welcome? Then if you can't join if you're not home-based, and they invited me. That was actually the last, check this out, the last big conference keynote I did, hired by a company. It was right before the pandemic. It was their 15th anniversary. They invited me back. I wrote the business plan. I helped them launch this company. And I'm forever grateful for that and to them. And then on to World Travel Holdings, where I'm still very dear friends with the co-CEOs. I've learned so much from Brad, a tremendous mentor for me. And I tell this because, friends, it's important that you have mentors in your life. It's important that you have coaches in your life. It's important that you learn from the leaders in this industry and learn of the practices you desire to embrace and emulate, and those practices that you know you should not emulate and that just don't fit your character. Most importantly, have a moral compass. Most importantly, know where your compass should be pointing. Know where's your North Star? Where's your true north in this business, in this industry? And I share this with you because I kind of knew, but I didn't know. And I went from place to place, but I always tried to learn and enrich and leave a little bit of a legacy of success. I did the home-based success series and the group sales success series. We did this tremendous road tour. And all the while, I was learning why and how group sales are really the most important thing in any agency's business. I truly believe that. Now, I just want you to know that because I started boot camp, and this is important for you because it talks about a niche, right? What I did, friends, was say, hey, I need a niche. I need a specialty. So I'm demonstrating for you that by actually declaring a niche, which I did, it not only helped me build boot camp and get the recognition and the following that I needed to make successful. And by the way, since February 2015, just under 500 advisors went through group sales boot camp, just under 500. And so many of you are here with me right now. And I thank you. I know Gina and some of you were here at the very, very, very beginning. And I thank you for that, truly. But it led to bigger and bigger things too, and more income for me. I mean, I was hired to do in-person group training. And I'm sharing this to inspire, not to show off, but just to thank the industry and to thank you. And also to demonstrate that when you do declare a niche, you become the celebrity authority. You become and people will seek you out for your expertise. Niche, niche, niche. If you haven't done it, please do it. And I do have a story to share about a successful niche in just a minute from one of our travel advisors who shared a story with us. But I did, I can't even share them all, but I did in-person group session, either keynotes or training sessions with Nexion, Dream Vacations, Mast, Asta, Vacation.com, Cruise World, NACTA, Nest, Palace Resorts, Travel Institute, Travel Planners International, and Virtuoso. It's been incredibly lucrative for me, and I'm honored to have been able to share my true passion and purpose in the travel industry. That, in addition to loyalty, I teach a lot of, that's going to be one of my new main speaking platforms is on loyalty. And by the way, I don't know who here participated in my group sales success summit. I did it twice. And between the two of them, they were massive. This was before the pandemic, way before, massive Zoom conferences. I brought you over 120 speakers. And by the way, if you own Group Sales Success Summit, and Michelle said did, and Mitch said did, Kyle said did, Karen did, and if you bought it, you own it for life. And the gems of wisdom that they share. And we had big names. Gandra was there, Vicky was there. We had really big names be a part of this. And we had very, very, very successful travel advisors sharing their personal strategies with you. So that's never going away. And of course, most recently, as I bring this little bit of a history to a close, I did Boot Camp Live this year in March and June. And if you've never done any of my training, you can buy it. I'm not here to sell you anything, but it's actually going up $100 on January 1st, and you could buy it through me or through Travel Institute, because I'm not taking it. That's always going to be there, and if you want, I want to always make it available. But most importantly, I'm not here to sell you that. I am here to tell you that all 178 Group Sales Power Hours are on YouTube, and there's I don't know about 30 on as a podcast for you. They're never going away. I mean, just pick one, listen to one. See if there's something that moves you, that elevates you, that gives you some lift. So I want to make sure that you know that those will always be available to you. Thank you, everybody. If you've just joined in, this is the last Power Hour. And now we're going to move on to other business. I'm not going to share with you just yet what I've learned. I'm not going to share with you yet the 5 very important lessons I want to leave you with, but stay tuned for that. And I have a special guest jumping in here because I really need to give him a very public thanking, because I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for his friendship, mentoring, and of course, he's always been a competitor of mine. Yeah, we're talking about Mike. I don't know if he's in the house yet. Let's see, is Mike in the house? He'll be here momentarily. Okay, so here we go. Now stay tuned, because I want to share with you what a few travel advisors shared with me, having asked them, give me one thing that's been most pivotal, most transformational in your group business. And Debbie just typed in, oh, Mitch, I can't read that. You're crazy, man. Debbie said, I'm having issues with my computer today. We're experiencing very high winds. Uh-oh. Hey, listen, Debbie, thanks for being here. And I should have started off by saying, I hope everyone here is well. And I hope everyone here is safe, as we have crazy weather coming through too, on top of everything else. So here we go. So Captain Kyle, who I think was here from the beginning, who I feel a kinship with Kyle, because we communicate all the time, and he has inspired me in many ways. And by the way, Kyle, so here's news you can use. If you did go through boot camp, I have a little logo unit that you can put on your website, on your business card, on your social site to show that you're a group specialist. But don't put the logo on your site, on your business card, friends, unless you really, really are. No pretending here, because there was no testing. You didn't test out a boot camp. So I don't know. I don't know if you never watched a module. I have no idea. I don't know if you ever came to a coaching session. I have no idea. But thank you, Kyle, for inspiring me to do it. I should have done it a while ago. And if you need that, reach out to me, send me an email, and I'm happy to send it. Kyle, I'm having it tweaked. It'll be, the final version will be done probably in a day or two. I'm happy to give that to you. So here's what Kyle was. His number one most important thing he learned, and it doesn't have to be through boot camp, by the way, is the group viability test. Qualify before committing. So what does that mean to you if you don't know what group viability test is. That means to know before you go, friends. We get so excited. There's a group opportunity. We jump up and down, right? It's like, oh, wow, this is going to be a great group. It's going to work. And we just don't give it the level of scrutiny to know what the yellow flags are or the red flags. And when it comes to group sales, what did I say at the very beginning? I said, you're going to make your most money. The opportunity to earn big is in group sales. And on the flip side, it's your biggest opportunity to lose money as well. Right? I mean, it makes sense. There's always a little high, a little low, little low, little high, especially when the payoff could be big, the risk is also big. And that's why boot camp is here, so that you don't make those mistakes. So he said the group viability test. And by the way, I've given out the group viability test free as a sample for 1,000,000 years. Not true. So if anyone here is joining me and you've never seen this before, don't type it in the message box, because there are so many messages coming through, which really excites me. Send me an email direct, Stuart@stuartloydcohen.com. I'm happy to send you that complimentary PDF, because I want you to have it. I want you to have it. Okay. All right. Next, Sam, who's also a dear friend from Travel and Good Company. She said, I asked her for the one thing, and she said, this is the tie for the one thing. So there are 3 things that she considers the one thing. Thank you, Sam. Number 1 is the group launch sequence, because it works. Group launch sequence, for those of you who know it, I'll give you a quick recap. If you don't, it's basically, we can't be promoting groups the way you've been promoting groups for all these years, because it usually fails basically the typical way, which is what the suppliers usually teach. That's a general statement. That you go ahead and you block all the space, you put out the prices, and then you do the marketing. And group launch sequence basically flips that, right? Right, Kyle? Right, Mitch? Right, everybody? Right, Michelle? It flips it. So basically, you do the promotions first, and then you release the pricing. You get them lined up outside your door, so that when you open up for sale, you control the launch. You control the launch, so that when you open up for sale, they're lined up outside your door, and you have your biggest sales day ever, the day you open up those doors. That's group launch sequence. Second, which is still part of her first, is business in your own backyard. Surprise. So something I've been preaching since the very beginning, friends, is that all the business you'll ever need is in your own backyard. All the business you'll ever need is in your own backyard. Meaning, stop looking far and wide. It's already who you know. It's already who's in your neighborhood. It's already the people who are following you and the people you are following. It's your friends and family. It's right there. Don't drive yourself crazy. All the business you'll ever need is in your own backyard, whether it is physically in your own backyard, literally, or virtually. So when I say backyard, it could be a virtual backyard, right? You could be in communities, and that's where you hang out. And third on her list, which is, again, part of her number 1, bigger is not always better. So these are sage words coming from Sam here. Bigger is not always better. I now focus on small groups of 10 to 16 passengers and love it. I'll say it again. I now focus on small groups of 10 to 16, and I love it. I don't know why so many travel advisors, of course, obsessed with, wow, the bigger the better. I need 50. I need 100. Let me block 100 cabins, right? And you only sell 3, give the rest back. Believe me, been there, done that, worked on the cruise line side. The attrition rate is unbelievable. That's why they love your group business. The problem is they kind of know what the rates of success are. It's small. So when you're a true affinity group producer and you know what you're doing, your attrition rate, all the cabins that won't sell that you have to give back, is much lower, and they're going to love you for it, right? You know this. The suppliers, I like to call them brands, they'll love you so much more. They'll give you so much more. When I say give you, in terms of attention, perhaps co-op, perhaps negotiating power, when they know that you know what you're doing. and they're not going to give you 100 staterooms to hold, and you're only going to sell 3. They know you're going to block 20 and sell 19. There you go. Thank you, Sam. And I want to read a quote that Sam shared. I love this quote. Leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. Leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. And I want to thank Sam for sharing that, because I hope that I have created more leaders, each and every one of you, leader in your business, in your marketplace. She says, a great leader, you've accomplished that and more with Group Bootcamp. So that's beautiful. And I wish that to you. And I have been moved by other leaders too. So it just continues on. All right. Let me just check the boards here. Wow. We have a lot of wonderful comments here. Thank you. All right. Moving on to Trinita, dear friend, as well with Dream Vacations. Now listen carefully, because Trinita shares something big as well. You asked for one word that changed our group business. That one word is Stuart. I floundered around in business. Now, I'm not reading this to pat myself on the back, but trust me, there's a point to it. I floundered around in business for a while without a real focus or the true confidence to do something big or even next level. From the moment I met you, I felt truly inspired. But beyond that, you gave me a blueprint as to how to proceed, and you became my mentor and friend. I have gone from a few groups, here's the payoff, to annual and biannual groups, to writing contracts for ship charters. Are you hearing what I'm hearing? Are you celebrating Trinita's success? Now that I have truly found my niche within group travel, she's found her niche. I could not be more excited to grow my business, Stuart. I am dreaming big and going for it. I love those words. I could not be more excited to grow my business. Thank you for support, advice, your answered calls and emails over the years. You indeed have made me an enormous and enduring positive impact. You have had enormous impact on my business. You're very welcome, Trinita, as you have inspired me. And it's fun because we have had the opportunity to be in-person training events many, many times as well. So to be in your presence is a beautiful thing as well. Now I'm going to go to Doreen. And by the way, if you have a comment or as I'm reading this, if you have a question, or if you have something, it may have nothing to do with boot camp. It's not the purpose here. But what's the one thing that moved you, that elevated your group business? Was it something to you? Maybe it was small or maybe it was big. Share it. Please type it in and share it. I would appreciate that. So Doreen said, your group sales bootcamp course and your group sales coaching sessions have given me the blueprints I need to build an awesome and successful group travel business. Before I enrolled in your course, I was a ship at sea without a compass to guide me. Now, Doreen went ahead and beautifully shared her story of successes and failures, trials and errors. But the bottom line, it was about growth. It was about learning. It was about trying new things and stopping doing things that weren't working. And then, of course, just when Doreen from Coons Travel and Tours was ready to hit it big, of course, the pandemic hit, but they decided to stick with it. Her and her sister stuck with it, and they enrolled in boot camp. And basically, they took the leap of faith. And I want to read to you exactly what has transformed Doreen's company. To me, the most difficult part of the courses were creating a one-page hot sheet. So, question to you. Who here? Let me see. You want to raise your hand? Let me see hands. Who here has a one-page hot sheet? One-page hot sheet, which basically tells your story. And it can't be 10-point type. Okay? It can't be a tiny font. I mean, it has to. I read that and I know I need you. I know I like you. I know I'm impressed. It's clear. It's specific. It's concise. As Guy Kawasaki said, it is who am I marketing? It is perfect. Mitch has one. Who else has one? I don't see too many hands going up. Oh my goodness. Maybe this is an inspiration. Okay, let me rephrase the question. Who here knows they need to create a one-page hot sheet? Because if you do, it will help you build a better website. If you do, you will be more focused on who you are, what you do. So I'll know if I need you or not. I'm speaking as a consumer. raise your hand if you believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that you need a hot sheet, because I know you do. Jean Ann does. Karen does. So let me keep reading here. The first hot sheet draft was 3 pages. Holy cow. I had a long way to go to whittle it down to 1 page. After several hot sheet revisions and reaching deep into my soul to determine which niche was my passion, I want to read this again because this is what you need to do, friends. Listen to Doreen's journey. After several hot sheet revisions and reaching deep into my soul to determine which niche was my passion, my hot sheet is almost ready for publication. The meat and potatoes portion of the hot sheet is complete. It's just a matter of tweaking the final details and putting the finishing touches on the artistic design. Also, the number 2 thing she said was discovering my group niche. So both went hand in hand. And those are the 2 most difficult things, most challenging thing as a travel advisor in groups. And here she goes on. So listen to this inspiring story. Oh, Michelle asked, is it about me or why I chose my agency type? So it's really an about me page. It's who am I marketing? It tells your story. And yes, it should say why you're a specialty, why you're an expert, why you have earned that. Don't just tell me that you have this certification, that certification, you went to boot camp, this, that, the other thing. No, I want to know why. Demonstrate why it's your passion or your purpose or your true north. Give me a little background, give me a little history so that when I read it, I know exactly who you are and I know if I need you or not. I hope that helps, Karen. Doreen goes on to say 2022 is a time for a soft relaunch of Kuhn's Travel and Tours as a group magnet. Love that group magnet. I will create and lead the most amazing, entertaining, stimulating, and memorable group adventures by clients who will remember for the rest of their lives. There you go. Stuart, you were giving me 2 treasured tools. Now, this is important too. This is the final portion from Doreen. I think you're going to like what you hear. The 2 treasured tools she says are most important to her business: group viability test as her blueprint for success. That was Kyle's as well, right? And the group launch sequence. And that was Sam's as well. As the compass to follow to ensure the prosperity of Kuhn's Travel and Tours, the Roaring 20s, I love this, will be a thrilling and marvelous time for us. And she gives me best wishes on my next adventure. And as some of you know, my next adventure is in the world of ADHD. Through this whole time, I had no idea till my 40s that part of my successes and my challenges were ADHD driven until I learned how to understand it, embrace it, master it. Now I'm going to try to help others. That's my true purpose, my life's purpose. And I'll be doing my public speaking around that too. But I'll also continue, by the way, if I get a call from Palace Resorts, Connection, whoever, I will be on call as a professional speaker, by the way, in case you were wondering. Boot camp is going away, but I'm on call as a speaker. I feel like they have been so loyal to me and I want to be loyal to them. So thank you, Doreen, for sharing that. That was very, very, very inspiring. And I'm very grateful for that. Okay. Now, I want to take a moment here. So coming up, by the way, not a commercial break, but to let you know what we haven't talked about yet, I want to share with you what I've learned, the 4 things that I've learned that I think will be inspiring for you to hear in a loving way. And then I have those 5 important lessons to leave you with. And my very special friend and competitor and mentor is in the house. And you know what, Mike, why don't you camera on here, man? Go ahead. There he is.
I'm cameraed on.
He's cameraed on. Everybody, this is the guy right here. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be wearing a bow tie, a white shirt, and sitting with those medals behind me. Also, the Ironman 70.3 medals, if not for you. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Okay, Stuart. Very good. Thanks, man. Looking sharp. You. Looking sharp today.
Well, thank you. It's a rental. I have to have it back.
I understand. I understand.
I appreciate you being here. So I want to share now, Mike, some of the things that I've learned and the lessons. If you had any comment, please chime in. I've never known you to have a lack of anything to say. And I say that with all due respect.
I understand that.
What you say, it's so much gravity. I mean, hey, I've never said that before.
No.
I like that. All right. So here we go, friends. Tune in listen up for the second half, the final half of the Group Sales Power Hour. What I've learned, 4 things that I didn't think I had to, but I had to put a membership end date. In other words, and this is, and I'm not selling anything, but I had to say that if you buy boot camp, your membership expires in a year. And I did that because I found if I didn't put an end date, everyone would say, I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it next week. I'll get to it in a month. Boy, this has been a crazy year. Don't have time. I'll get to it soon. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And before you know it, a year, 2 years go by. So Mike, I call this, and I just read this in the book by Daniel Pink. The book is it's called Time. And he talks about the power of endings. I'm a big believer, friends, that if we don't have an end date, an expiration date in time, we may procrastinate for all eternity. So the lesson there, friends, that I learned is that if you're enrolled in something, certification or learning opportunity, just if they didn't give you an end date, give yourself an end date and listen to it, watch it, read it. If not, delete it. And if you're out there, if you put out information or you're sharing something, put an end date. Hey, if you don't grab this free special report PDF, you can't get it after tomorrow. And I know, Mike, you experienced that too. We have to put an end date. Next thing, something I've been really surprised about. I'll never know why. I think I run a good power hour, a coaching session. Only a handful of advisors showed up with tremendous loyalty, and you know who you are. And a handful of you came when you could, and more never showed up. Friends, whether you paid for it or not, especially if you paid for it, if an expert, if a guru is offering you to tune into a group coaching session, when I say group, meaning it's not one-on-one, because if you'd have to pay, right, if you want a coaching session, but if it's group, why wouldn't you go? And if you got an issue, a situation, a challenge, an opportunity, why wouldn't you show up and ask the question? I was stunned at how few travel advisors showed up. Woody Allen said 80% of success is showing up. I want to inspire you to show up. Hey, if it's not for you, I'm not insulted. Why'd you sign up then? But show up. What's out there you haven't showed up for? Show up. Number 3, boy, how I wish suppliers, I prefer calling them brands. How I wish the suppliers would train their field salespeople. Mike, I'm going out on a limb here because, some of our best clients, my best clients, are the brands themselves. I wish they took my group training course. I wish they were involved in group sales boot camp, because this is a very general statement, but I got to tell you, the majority of them are still teaching legacy ways of doing groups. And that pains me, because whether you're a legacy agency, meaning you've been in the business for a while, you're a veteran, or you're brand new, you're learning methods that don't work anymore. So maybe one of you has an in with one of the brands, say, you got to bring Cohen in to teach the team, train the trainer. And I'm not soliciting business here, but this has just been a disappointment. They're still teaching the old ways. You need the newer ways. They need their field sales need to know the newer ways so they can teach you the newer ways. And number four on this list of what I've learned is that it's never the only agencies I've seen, or advisors I've seen really experience success are those who took risks, those who never got comfortable, those who tried something totally new and they were scared. They had anxiety. And I had to do some hand holding. And Mike, I know you've had this too. You can do it. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. And what I would hear is, that's not my comfort zone. Well, what you need to do is make it your new comfort zone. Instead of visualizing as a leap off a cliff that you could plunge into disaster and terror and failure. No. You're not dropping off a cliff. You're stepping up into a new comfort zone. Try it. Just try it. And you may fail the first time. You may fail the second time. The third time, you're going to get so good at it, you're going to look back and go, oh my goodness, I wish I had started this earlier. So those are just 4 takeaways I had to share with you. Before I go on to the lessons to leave you with, Mike, I did. Any comments on what I just shared?
Well, Stuart, yes, not comments. The word's not comments. It's maybe some support or some confirmation, if you would, if you just give me a couple of minutes to endorse that. But I'm sitting here listening to you and you're sharing gold. You're sharing gold. Those 4 points were golden nuggets. And as I want to just say 2 authors that support what you just said. One of them is a woman by the name of Mel Robbins, who shoots from the hip, uses some language that some people might not care to hear, but she really hits you right in the forehead. She wrote the 5-second rule. And the 5-second rule very quickly is that if you have an idea, and we all have ideas every day, if you don't move forward with that idea within 5 seconds, was her number, 5 seconds, that chances are it's going to go away. It's going to evaporate. And I support what you just said. If you have something in mind, do it. Just start it. Begin it. You scrape the paint off the car, and it'll eventually get painted. Or pull the wallpaper off the living room. Will be painted or repapered, if you will. But the 5-second rule, I strongly recommend. It's an easy read. You might want to look at that. Google it, YouTube it. Mel Robbins is the name. The second one was Seth Godin, who's also a big famous marketing guru in the marketing world. And Seth wrote a post not long ago called "Someday I'll," and what Stuart said and what Seth said is pick a date. Not I will take a cruise someday, but what it doesn't mean anything. It's fictitious. Life will prevent that from happening. I'm going to do something by July 15th. I'm going to do something by 8 o'clock tonight. Give yourself a target time, and the chances of that being completed are greatly enhanced, rather than someday I will do something. Stuart also said that a moment ago that he was somewhat chagrined that people didn't call him up and take advantage of his being there to help them. Stuart, you've heard the name Larry Finkelstein. I've said that many, many years.
Yes.
I invited Larry to a program in Chicago once with 50 travel agents. Larry is a successful multi-million-dollar winner. The guy's loaded, and he buys and builds and sells businesses, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. He came out as my guest in Chicago, and he said to the agents, 50 agents, I get to work at 6 a.m. I go home at 5. I love helping people. Here is my 800 number. Call me from 6 a.m. till 5 o'clock, and I will be glad to hear your story and help you. And I said to him, Larry, you're nuts. They're going to kill you. You're crazy. And he said, Mike, here's my 800 number between 6 and 5. After the meeting's over, I said, Larry, that was an idiotic maneuver. He said, Mike, how many people do you think are going to call me? And I said, I expect the most of them. He said, nobody will call me. They won't call me. I checked with him 6 months later. He received 1 phone call from an agent that was in that room. Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, take advantage of people. When the window opened as opportunity, Stuart opened the window. Don't close it on yourself. It's there. The help is out there. And if anybody is going to prevent your success, chances are it's you. And my last comment, Stuart, and then I'll stop, is that Woody Allen, famous quote, he said, I have accomplished many fine things in my life, but I have not accomplished everything I set out to do. But what I did not accomplish was nobody's fault but my own. I have no one to blame but myself. And likewise, in the travel industry, you have hotels, you have airplanes, you have ships, you have rivers, you have countries, you have Disney, you have everything you need without having to buy anything. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy raw materials. And if you're not as successful as you want to be, as you think you should be, chances are there's no one to blame but yourself and your commitment to make your career happen, because it's all there. Yes, we've been hit in the stomach with COVID. Yes, that's going to go away. But if you don't quit on yourself, you'll become successful. And Stuart, you gave them the tools. I mean, it's not like, what do I do? They have the tools. And Jill Conrad, famous instructor from Xerox, famous speaker, I asked Jill once, I said, Jill, do the salesmen at Xerox actually do what you teach them to do? And I'll never forget her answer. It came across very quick. She says, Mike, the good ones do. The good ones will take Stuart's information and run with it. The mediocre ones will let it go away because they're out of their comfort zone. You have it. A new year's coming up. It's all, the ball's in your court. I know Stuart wishes you well. I wish you well. And Stuart, that's all I have to say.
I appreciate that, Mike. Words of wisdom. Oh, as always, and I can't wait. We have a project we're going to be doing together. I can't wait. We always have something in the hopper, so everyone stay tuned for that. However, I want to take this opportunity, and before I share those 5 important lessons to leave with you, with everybody who's here today, I want to publicly thank you. I don't think I could put into words the gratitude I feel, not only for your friendship, but specifically now for your mentorship and for your coaching. It was you who gave me your cell phone number. It was you who gave me your email address and said, call me. How can I help? It was you who would call me back after I'd send you an email or a voicemail when I'm panicking. I'm imploding because I didn't know what to do. This was a failure. How do I handle this? They didn't hire me for this gig, or they did. And oh my goodness, how am I going to handle all the myriad of things? You called me off the bridge, as we like to say. It was you at a speaking event many, many, many years on a cruise ship. I think it was for Cruise One before it was Dream Vacations Cruises Inc. We were both speakers. We were both keynoters. Who looked over and you put your hand out? It was you who opened up that door to build a relationship. And again, from a business perspective, there's no way I could have been here, achieved this level of success. And look, I made plenty of failures along the way. Of course, I have regrets, but at the end of the day, I'm pleased, I'm satisfied that I gave Group Sales Bootcamp my 1,000%. And part of that 1,000% is the man, Mike MARCHEV. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you very much.
And let me pivot now as we start to come to a close here. And if you who are here listening live or on YouTube or the podcast, if you have questions, comments, ideas, I'm not going to give you my phone number because I don't need to be out in podcast land, but you know how to get me. My phone number is there. My email address is there. Mike's phone is always on. His email address is always open. We live to receive letters from you. We do. We're literally disappointed. And we're like, wow, only one person asked for the PDF. Okay. So here are it was really hard to boil this down or boil it up, as they say. But listen up, everybody. If you're worth it, stop allowing yourself to be stepped on. This is some tough love for you, my dear friends, my dear travel advisor friends, but it really pains me when I see consumers walking all over for you, using you for your brilliance and your information, and then taking their business someplace else, maybe never coming back a second time. But at the end of the day, as Mike said too, we control our destiny. We either step up or we got to step out. And as I said from the very beginning of this pandemic period, as I call it, the great in between, these are your leadership moments. So if someone's asking you to reveal your gap points, you say no. If someone's asking you for a discount, you'll say no. If someone asks, well, why do I need you? You'll say yes, and here's why. Specifically why. Please, I'm tired of seeing you beautiful people getting stepped on and walked on by consumers who don't realize that you're the greatest gift that's ever happened to them. And you're not a gift. It comes at a cost, but it's worth every penny. Notice I said if you're worth it, because I want you to take time to reflect. Are you giving it your all? Number 2, you'll never discount if you're worth it. And I need to repeat this again because that's a slippery slope. Some of you already know never to go there. Some of you still do it today. And since the beginning of time in travel, the first discount you do just sets it's just all downhill from there, not only in the industry because the consumer gets used to it, but you're discounting your services. So I think everyone on the line right now gets that, but if you're worth it, you'll never need to do that. In fact, if you're worth it, number 3, you'll never be a commission hostage. I like that phrase, Mike. You'll never be a commission hostage. If that cruise line, if that tour operator, if that hotel group is going to pay you 10%, 12%, 15%, really? You're going to settle for that? You think you're going to survive and thrive and create a lucrative business just on commissions alone? No. Now, in Group Sales Bootcamp, I talk about the value of the package. But at the end of the day, you should never be selling the stripped down off the shelf bare bones product. You should be selling the package, and you should feel comfortable charging service fees. We're not going to get into that argument. We're not going to get into that debate right now. I don't care if you call it a service fee or a booking fee, a planning fee, or hey, you want to book with me? It's $300 a year. I don't care how you call it, no matter how you slice it. At the end of the day, you're worth more if you believe you are than just the commission. Number 4, if you're worth it, you'll have a highly loyal book of business. If you're worth it. And if you've attended any of my loyalty workshops, I just completed that with Virtuoso. I've done a lot of keynotes on it. Loyalty is, that's it. That's what you need to aspire to, is loyalty. And what I teach is you go first, not the customer. I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. You go first. Loyalty starts with you showing abundant loyalty to your customer, and then you'll get it back. You got to earn it every day, before, during, and far after the sale. Trust me, I've seen the most successful travel advisors have a book of business and they don't take new business. Mike has seen this too. I guarantee it. That's what you want. That's what you work for, is loyalty. If you're worth it, I want you to reflect on that and ponder it. And number 5, well, Stuart, how do I know I'm worth it? Well, I'm going to really boil it down for you. And for those of you who have been following the show and following me at events or whatever, you've heard me say this ad nauseum, which I'm not really sure what it means if I'm pronouncing it right. Certainly can't spell it, but it works. I'll know you're worth it if you reduce stress and risk, you add value and convenience, and if you transform the entire experience from good to great. I need to say it one more last time on the Power Hour. And this is a question for you to ponder. Are you reducing stress and risk? Tell me how. Demonstrate. Are you adding value and convenience? Tell me. Demonstrate. Show me how. And are you transforming the entire experience, not just the trip, but the planning process, the booking process? Are you transforming that from beginning to end, from good to great? If you are, if you said, yeah, that's me, you're worth it. And those are the 5 points I wanted to leave you with. And we're almost over, but I want to see, Mike, do you have any closing thoughts, please?
Stuart, when you just said that last, are you worth it? I was driving to a program 20 years ago, listening to the radio. There was a talk show on, and I'll never forget the host of the talk show when he said, what is your definition of success? And some people's success is a window overlooking the park. Some success, it's driving an expensive automobile. Some success is money. Some success is title. We all have our own definitions. And this man's definition of success, which I picked up on, was that I know I'm a successful man when I return from a business trip and I walk in the back door and how my wife and kids receive me. Do they come to the door to receive me after I've been away? And you as travel advisors, when you call that prospect, how do they answer the phone? How do they treat you? Are they glad to hear your voice? Are they glad to take your call? Are they glad to take your email? That's your definition that I must be doing something right because my customers are glad that I've come into their world. I think that's a good benchmark.
Beautiful. I really love that. Trinita agrees. This is awesome. I love these last few points. Mitch says, amazing. Thanks again, Stuart, for your ability to express success marvelously. Jean Ann, just want to say how inspiring you both have been over the years and how much I valued your mentorship. Mitch says, I hope that the Mike and Stuart show will continue. You're both amazing givers. Mike and Stuart show. I don't understand. Why is that the Stuart and Mike show? I mean, geez. I mean, I'm just saying.
Stuart, tell them when you and I get on the telephone, how many times have you said we should have hit the record button because this is good stuff?
Yeah, I know. All right. This is the image I want to leave you with. Mike, what is this?
This is the plus sign, and.
Yeah.
I think it is.
The ampersand.
Oh, ampersand. Okay.
Yeah. The reason why I'm showing this, and I actually have one over my shoulder too, is this is, to me, this is what life's about. And what's next? What have you got to say? What are you going to do? Where are you headed next? What's your plan? What's your new purpose? What's your new big challenge? Where do you want to go next? What do you want to do? What do you want to feel? What do you want to eat? What do you want to experience? What do you want to smell? What do you want to feel? And so for me, it's continuing on this industry in a different capacity as a speaker and trainer, not in boot camp. And it's opening up a whole new world, my true north. Public speaking still in my fields of specialty, but also helping ADHDers master their ADHD as a skill set, as an asset. What's yours? What's your and? Where are you going next? Where are you headed? Thank you, everybody. Mike, I can't thank you enough for dropping in. This was special.
My pleasure, man. You're the best. Stuart, you are the best. They're going to miss you, pal.
Well, thank you. And hey, everybody, most importantly, be well. Have a happy, healthy, prosperous 2022. Bye for now.